The flowery meadows of the valleys of Wieprz, Tyśmienica and Bug rivers form one of the most charming landscapes of Lubelskie. However, meadows are not just a place of agricultural production or part of a beautiful landscape. Valuable lowland hay meadows, wet meadows, Molinia meadows or Cladium mariscus beds are inhabited by rare species of animals. Here you can meet, for example, the aquatic warbler, corncrake or grossamer winged butterflies. The survival of all of them depends on properly conducted meadow management.
Cenne przyrodniczo łąki.
Valuable natural meadows are semi-natural communities. They have developed as a result of extensive management. Single or double mowing to the appropriate height in a timely manner promotes their biodiversity. As a result, many species of plants and animals, including endangered species, are able to fully complete their development cycle. The domestic demand for hay, due to the decrease in the number of livestock in many regions of Poland and changes in the ways of their maintenance, continues to decline. Meadows are being abandoned and, as a result, natural plant succession causes the disappearance of unique ecosystems that have developed through the years of mowing. In other places, the use of mowers is intensified. High fertilization and many cuts per season make a meadow no longer a habitat for wildlife and turn it into an ordinary lawn. All these factors make the plants and animals inhabiting the meadows come under a growing threat. The decline of biodiversity in the meadows strongly affects their bird inhabitants. Places that used to be teeming with birds are now deserted. Fortunately, you can still find a lot of meadows with the abundance of birds across the region. The valleys of large rivers are those places where bird life has found its refuge. The number of birds in the landscape is decreasing. Are there any known causes why the population of the tailed godwit, redshank and northern lampwing are on the decrease? Yes, there are the two opposing processes. At first, it was the discontinuation of management. Up to the 1980s, many of those areas had been extensively managed, mainly by manual mowing of meadows. At the end of the 1980s and the 1990s, many of those sites were abandoned due to the lack of profitability. After the Polish accession to the European Union, thanks to direct subsidies, agricultural use returned to many of those areas, primarily in order to keep dairy cattle. This resulted in an intensification of production which led to the disappearance of habitats typical of extensive management. Are there any mechanisms that would allow the number of birds to be restored to the levels we had 15 or 20 years ago? There are agri-environmental programs under the Rural Development Program. Those include habitat protection packages and bird protection packages. All meadows and pastures that are in those packages should be managed in accordance with the requirements of birds biology. The aquatic warbler is the rarest bird of the sparrow family in Europe. Nearly 30% of the European population lives in Poland. Aquatic warblers from the Lublin region inhabit a habitat very specific to the region, Cladium mariscus beds. The use and proper management of Cladium mariscus beds is supported by an agri-environmental program. Those habitats require mowing, but hay collected from them is unsuitable for animal husbandry purposes.
Jesteśmy w tej chwili
We are now in the Rozkosz Nature Reserve. This is one of the largest areas of sedge rushes located on carbonate peat bogs in the sub-region of Chełm. The Rozkosz Reserve, stretching for over 3 kilometers from here, is the main habitat of the aquatic warbler. It is a habitat unique in Europe. Only here the aquatic warbler nests in clumps of swamp sawgrass.
Siedlisku, jakimi są te kępy kłoci wiechowatej.
At the moment we see the last year's plants, so the landscape is dominated by grey and brown colors.
Dominuje kolor szaro-brązowy.
These places are currently being inhabited by both male and female warblers as their breeding grounds. The corncrake is another important species protected under the agri-environmental program. Tall vegetation of meadows gives it a shelter, while proper maintenance of those meadows is possible thanks to the late mowing date. The protection of corncrake habitats has been one of the most popular variants of this program.
Powiedz mi, jak tak naprawdę wygląda sytuacja?
What is the current situation of the corncrake? Are there many of them? The corncrake population in Poland is high if compared with Europe. It is estimated that in the country we have approximately 50,000 males. We're not talking about couples, as each population is estimated on the basis of the number of males. A large population is also found in Romania, about 50,000 males. For comparison, France is home to several hundred individuals, and in other countries there are up to several thousand individuals. Well-preserved extensive meadows, which are in fact communities of herbs, favor the corncrake. However, in Western Europe, many meadows have been transformed, or improved, as they say, into grassland communities alone. But corncrake doesn't like those grassy communities. The grasslands of eastern Poland fit the preferences of the corncrake. They are well preserved and have moderate humidity, just like the corncrake likes. The aim of the agri-environmental programs is not only to protect the corncrake and other grassland birds. This instrument contains many variants, implemented in different types of grasslands. Some of them protect Molinia meadows, floodplain alluvial meadows and hylophytes, semi-wet and semi-natural lowland hay meadows, as well as bogs. One of the variants of agri-environmental program concerns the protection of Molinia meadows. They belong to one of the most valuable semi-natural communities of plants in Poland and Central Europe. Their existence is linked to a specific type of management which is based on the absence of fertilization and late mowing date. Molinia meadows are characterized by an abundance of flora and fauna wildlife. Gladiolus imbricatus, the Siberian iris, March angelica, March gentian and fringed pink are the rarest species of flora. Some plant species of Molinia meadows are hosts to butterfly species. These plants are, for example, the great burnet, March gentian or Succisa pratensis. The life of Maculinea teleus or Nausitos is dependent on the presence of the great burnet, appropriate species of Myrmica ant and the extensive management. Adult butterflies lay their eggs on burnet. The larvae first feed on the plant's nectar but then fall to the ground. They become behaviorally and morphologically similar to the eggs of ants. Ants adopt the larvae of Maculinea and take them to their nests. The larvae of the butterfly become gluttonous and eat the larvae of ants. After transformation, in July or August, adult butterflies fly away.
W okresie wakacyjnym latają. Pojedyncze osobniki dożywają.
Adults can live up to the age of 3 days. During this short life, they feed on the nectar of red, purple or pink flowers. Most often, these are the purple loosestrife, common self-heal, Stachys officinalis, great burnet, dried plumeless sowort or various species of vetches. The host plant of Maculinea alcon is the marsh gentian, on which butterflies lay their eggs in summer. It is believed that to maintain Molinia meadows, occasional or infrequent mowing is needed. Also, a very late mowing date can help in Molinia meadows maintenance. We are currently in the meadow that was not mowed for several years, and thus the Siberian iris, protected species characteristic to Molinia meadows, spreads on it. It is autumn, so we can see its fruit. There are many plants of this species in the meadow because it has not been mowed for a long time. But on the other hand, an unmowed meadow becomes colonized by trees and shrubs, and their spread in the long term can lead to the withdrawal of the meadow species, including the rare ones, and those related to the Molinia meadows. Due to the fact that Molinia meadows are mowed in early autumn, the biomass collected from them is not suitable for livestock feeding, but it can be used for mulch or for energy purposes. Also, other valuable natural habitats require late mowing. Alluvial floodplain meadows are one of them. Alluvial floodplain meadows are habitats that are usually associated with the valleys of large rivers. Once or twice a year, they are inundated by floodwater, while they become dry between floods. Those meadows develop mostly on fertile soils. They are characterized by a rich floristic composition and the presence of blooming, colorful perennials in late summer. Cnidion dubii alluvial floodplain meadows develop on the floodplains of large rivers, rich in rare species such as Cnidium dubium, Allium angulosum, Gratiola officinalis or Scrutellaria hastifolia. Periodic floods are not the only requirement to maintain these meadows. Hay mowing is also necessary. No mowing causes expansion of unwanted species such as thistle and Rumex confertus. Semi-natural wet meadows create a habitat with a rather rich composition of species, both plants and animals. These meadows play an important role in protecting organic soils from degradation. Those meadows can be found practically all over the country, in various types of wetland habitats, including flooded river terraces or slightly drained mires. Semi-natural wet meadows play an important role in biodiversity conservation. They are an important habitat for plants such as Angelica palustris, the early marsh orchid and western marsh orchid. It is also a habitat for wetland birds. Due to their location, they are important for surface water retention. Typical wet meadows are Calthion palustris grasslands with yellow-blooming Caltha palustris, Cirsiatum rivularis meadows with violet-blooming Cirsium rivulare, and Angelico Cirsiatum oleracei meadows with Cirsium oleraceum blooming in early summer. Semi-natural hay meadows are usually found in the vicinity of rivers, in light alluvial soils, as well as on mineral elevated hillocks and slopes of river valleys. They are characterized by richness of species and high landscape values. These habitats are important in the production of animal feed, which often results in an over-intensive meadow management and consequently in the degradation of the natural value of those meadows. Semi-natural hay meadows are an important place of hay production. They can be double-mowed or may be grazed instead of the second mowing. They have great natural importance due to the presence of a large amount of rare and protected species of both plants and animals. Also, they are of great landscape value. Typical species for those meadows are grasses such as the false oatgrass, downy oatgrass, yellow oatgrass, orchard grass, but also the spreading bellflower, wild carrot or the oxeye daisy. A threat to these meadows is both too intensive pasturage as well as abandonment of meadow management or omission of fertilization. Lack of demand for hay is the main reason of abandonment of meadows. This is caused by the decline in livestock population and changes in the way of their management. If we want to keep the mowing of meadows, we must find an alternative use for the meadow biomass. Highly compacted hay pellets for burning, both in households and in industrial central heating stoves, is one of the possible ways by which hay can be managed for energy purposes. Grasslands are crucial to many species of plants and animals. Meadows are also a colorful element of the landscape, especially beautiful in the spring and early summer. Unfortunately, nowadays, more and more meadows and pastures become abandoned or their management is excessively intensified. This results in the disappearance of the natural and landscape values. The implementation of an agri-environmental scheme can be an opportunity to protect grasslands. That program offers a number of variants, specially designed to the management and protection of different habitats. It is also financially beneficial for farmers. Let's hope that thanks to the agri-environmental program, the meadows of the region of Lublin will continue to charm the future generations with their incomparable beauty.